Hi pals, and welcome back to my World of Tanks channel. I'm Antonov2, and today I've finally gotten around to making a review of, or not really a review, this is a test server review. So everything I'm telling you now is only based on my little experience I've had with this tank on the test server, and things can and will be changed about this tank, and they already have been changed, as I will light up later on in this preview or review. Don't nail me down to anything what I say here, because I've only had a limited experience driving this vehicle, and it's a test server. There's more gold flying around than you can believe, and so on and so on. So the impression I got of this tank might be false. So just having that out of the way, just that nobody says, "Oh, Antonov, you haven't got an idea of what you're talking about." Well, no, I haven't, because it's the test server. So now you all know it, and now that's out of the way, we can get stuck in. This is the new tier 10 Russian medium tank, the Object 140, and there's been a new Russian medium tank line added to the tech tree of the Russians, obviously, in patch 8.8, or it will be added because 8.8 isn't out yet. And you've got the A43 at tier 6, they both split up at tier 6 here after the T-34. You've got the A43, the A44 is at tier 7, then you've got the Object 416 at tier 8, and then they lead together again at tier 9 and share the T-54 at this tier. And then they move up to tier 10 and they both split up again. They've got the T-62A and the Object 140. And these tanks are very, very, very similar. This is the Object 140 here. This is the T-62A. Just have a look at them from the side. T-62A, Object 140. They look extremely similar. The Object 140 has got a bit lower profile, and it's got a bit better angling on the armor, and it's also got this machine gun up here. The T-62A hasn't, and it's also got the T-62A has only got one cupola on the right side of the turret, while the Object 140 has got two. So that's added weak spot to the 140. But except for that, they look extremely similar. But they don't only look similar, they've also got very, very similar stats, so we'll just quickly compare the two of them. The T-62A has got 50 hit points more than the Object 140, which is insignificant. At tier 10 games, that's nothing really, so that doesn't really make a difference. The Object 140 is a bit lighter, more or less exactly 1 ton lighter actually, so that means that the Object 140 gets a bit better power to weight ratio of 16, while the T-62A gets 15.49, so that means the Object 140 will feel a bit more agile actually. They both share the same engine, so that's the reason why the Object 140 will feel a bit more nimble. The Object 140 is 5 kph quicker too, and it will reach that speed because the power to weight ratio of 16 is pretty good. So it is a bit more speedy than the T-62A, and it also turns faster, 54 degrees per second. That was actually changed because in the first build of the test server, the Object 140 turns more slowly than the T-62A. The Object 140 has got 2mm less frontal armor, which is a ridiculously insignificant difference, but the Object 140 has got better all-round armor. It's got 80 at the side and 55 at the rear. Now, with tier 10 guns firing at this, that won't make a difference, but if arty shells hit these tanks, the splash damage to the 140 will be less. And if you look at the turret stats, the turret of the Object 140 is armored better all round as well. So the Object 140 has got less to fear from artillery shells. One interesting fact about the Object 140's armor is that it's angled better as well than the T-62A's armor. So here's the Object 140, here's the T-62A. From the profile, you can see the Object 140 has gotten a lot better angle, which means that the effective armor thickness of this upper plate is better actually than that of the T-62A. The lower plate is angled a bit better too, I believe, but they're angled, the lower plate is a very, very difficult to hit weak spot down here. Both tanks haven't really got any weak spots from the front except for these two cupolas up here on the Object 140, and there's one cupola on the T-62A. So they've both got very, very good turret armor, 240mm. But as I already pointed out, the Object 140 has got better all-round armor on the turret. Now you might think these tanks are amazing for going hull down. At least not the T-62A, because the T-62A doesn't have any gun depression whatsoever. This is actually the tier 10 medium tank that has got the worst gun depression, along with the E50M. And that always meant that you couldn't really put this 240mm frontal turret armor to use all that well because your gun depression wasn't good enough. So you could never really use that, and your 100mm hull armor would barely protect you from tier 10 guns. You haven't got that problem with the 140, because the 140 has got amazingly good gun depression for a Russian tier 10 medium. It's got way better gun depression than the T-62A, and that just allows you to apply a lot more tactics, like hold down tactics in this vehicle, and it makes you a lot more versatile on the battlefield. So that's an enormous benefit that this tank has got above the T-62A. If we look at the guns of the two tanks, we can see that they both use the same gun, the 100mm U8TS. The T-62A uses it as well. They've both got exactly the same rate of fire, penetration and alpha damage on both tanks. This gun has always been about the rate of fire. The penetration is pretty good, but the rate of fire combined with the decent alpha damage is what makes this gun amazing, because that means it's got an amazing DPM, the best DPM of any of the tier 10 medium tanks. There's a slight difference in aiming time and accuracy though, because on the T-62A, this gun has got 0.34 accuracy and aims for 2 seconds, while on the Object 140, the same gun has got 0.35 accuracy and aims 2.1 seconds. So that's, in both cases, only 0.1 difference, and that's just peanuts, but you know, it's still there, and it can make a bit of a difference. So what stats have we got left? Turret traverse. The T-62A turns its turret 8 degrees per second quicker, which can make quite a difference really, if you're trying to circle a slow heavy tank. So that is actually quite a significant disadvantage of Object 140. They've both got the same view range, but the signal range of the T-62A is quite a bit better than that of Object 140. So that can make a difference too, but it's not the most important of all stats. 120 meters difference, so it's quite significant. So all in all, the Object 140 seems to be in a lot better tank, judging from the stats, and is only worse than T-62A in turret traverse, signal range, and it's got very, very minor disadvantage in aiming time and accuracy. But there's one thing that you can't see from the stats, and that is that either the transmission or the engine or something that will set your engine on fire is mounted in the front of the tank. Shots penning the upper glacis, which will happen because it's only 100mm, and even at this angle, your upper glacis will get penetrated quite reliably by tier 10 guns. Shots at this upper glacis, I think up here, will set the engine on fire. The engine has only got a chance of fire of 12%, but still your engine will burn quite a lot, and I can really recommend to use an automatic fire extinguisher on this vehicle, because engine fires are very, very frequent if you hit in the front. The T-62A hasn't got that problem at all. Shots in the front will never set your engine on fire. The Object 140 has that problem, and that is quite a big drawback. But still, I'd say the Object 140 is better than the T-62A, because just the fact that it has got gun depression makes the variety of tactics that you can use in this vehicle so much wider, and the versatility of this tank a lot better. So all in all, I'd probably still prefer the Object 140 over T-62A, but never forget that the engine can be set on fire by shots penning the front of a tank. And they've only added this weak spot in the second build of a Testserver, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I have never noticed that problem on the first build of a Testserver. But on the second build, I've had a lot of games in which I've been burning. But if you've got a fire extinguisher, that is not all that big a problem. But it's quite a significant difference, and it can make playing the Object 140 a real pain in the ass. So that you know what I'm talking about, we're going to have some gameplay. And the way we're going to handle this is, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you a game in which I just line up with my friend. He's playing a T-62A in a training room, and we'll compare the gun depression of the two tanks, and after that we'll have a real brawl in this vehicle. So I hope you enjoy it. Oh, I'm really sorry guys, but it turned out that I saved the wrong replay file, and I can't show you the thing with the gun depression in comparison with the T-62A. But what I'm going to do is, once my friend comes over again, we're going to do it again, and I'm going to upload a video, hopefully, and then I'll show it to you. I'll put a link up on screen, so if I've made a video, a link will be popping up right now on screen, and you can watch it as a separate video. So I'm really sorry, but no gun depression today. Yeah, I'm really forgetful. I really have to work on that. And yeah, this gun is really amazing, and this tank is really nice, and you can see just there how we can really DPM that guy, and how our quick reload allowed us to very quickly put 2 shots into him before he disappeared. That wouldn't have been possible in a tank like a Leopard or an E50M or something like that. So I'm playing very aggressively here because it's on the test server, and you know, I want to test this tank, I want to see some action and whatever. So I think we pulled off that scout, that spot on the fighting vehicle T-115B, and the T-123 pops up again, so I'm going to take another shot at him. I draw behind cover because I don't want to get spotted, although I think he probably spotted me already. But yeah, there we go. Fighting vehicle 250B 183, and he obviously hit the front of my turret. I don't think he penetrated. I think he ricocheted off the gun mantle, but he still made, or he didn't ricochet. Like his shell exploded. He's probably firing HE or the HESH shells, probably the HESH shells, and then he did splash damage. And quite a lot of splash damage actually. So we're down on kind of low health here, and we still don't know where that fighting vehicle 183 is, so we'll have to be careful because he could wreck us with 1 shot. But you can see we can basically kill these guys here, or fight these guys, without having to expose our hull all that much because of our good gun depression. So we're going to try to finish off that fighting vehicle, and we manage. Good. So that's the first kill, and our team's doing very well. We've got 5 kills and our enemies have only got 1. So T-123, we could get him, but he's in cover right now. So well, I have to be careful that E100 ahead of me. But I'm going to try to take him out. And we go for slower glaciers and kill him. And turns out that somebody took out the E100. So that's our second kill. And one great thing about this gun is that its aiming time, although worse on the T-62A, is still very good with 2.1 seconds. And the accuracy while on the move is astonishingly good. So that means that you don't have to poke out all that long to take a shot. So what you see me doing here is I'm kind of sniping actually, and that actually works out in this gun, even with a bit worse accuracy than on the T-62A. And that makes this tank to an amazing all-rounder because it can kind of do everything really. It can brawl, it can snipe, it can support. It's just amazing. And 3.5 accuracy is kind of accuracy at which you can still snipe. With 0.36, it kind of starts to get a bit dodgy when you're trying to take long range shots. So the mouse, and you can see we've got no problems penning the side skirt, like penning the mouse through the side skirts. But sadly enough, the mouse has got no problems either penning us through the hull. So we take quite a big hit there. And now I think he's probably going to be reloaded, so I'm playing very cautiously here. But I've got plenty of heavy tanks here, and I think the mouse is focusing on one of them. Yeah, you can see his turret is turned that way. So we miss his lower hull, I think, the lower glaciers, and track him so somebody else finished him off. And now there's only the E50M and the Jagdpanzer E100 left. So, oh yes. And we get a nice shot into his lower glaciers. You could see we also didn't have to aim all that long there. So that is really good with this gun. And the E50M, we easily penetrate the upper glaciers of this vehicle, and you know the penetration of this gun is very good. It's 263mm, I believe, so that's very nice. And we try again, but this time we ricochet because he's angled. And somebody else finishes him off. So, nice game there, and I hope that really showed you what the T-62A is good at. It's great at dealing out shots with very high frequency and just spamming enemies with its DPM, and it's an amazing all-rounder. You can keep enemies tracked for your allies with your great rate of fire so that they can kill them. You can support your allies, you can snipe from the rear, you can brawl because your armor is kind of decent, and it's just an amazing vehicle. And I think you would probably really enjoy playing this vehicle if you like fast, action-packed gameplay with kind of a lot of opportunities and really the ability to influence the outcome of the game. So I hope you enjoyed this game, and for some final words, let's go back to the garage. All in all, I think the Object 140 is far superior to the T-62A just because it's got gun depression and it's got better all-round armor, it's faster, more maneuverable, and the drawbacks are very, very insignificant really, except for this problem with the engine fires. You really have to look out for that, but except for that, the Object 140 is a really, really fun tank, and I kind of think that it makes the T-62A a bit obsolete. Both of them are very, very similar, and I really wouldn't recommend you to get the Object 140 if you've already got the T-62A, because it isn't really worthwhile. It won't be all that big an upgrade, and it won't be a big difference in gameplay. So all in all, I wouldn't really recommend you to get both of them, just get one of them, because they're both very similar, and if you've got the choice, I'd recommend the Object 140, because the way it is at the moment, it's better than the T-62A. So I hope you enjoyed this review, or it's actually a test of a review. Again, remember, don't nail me down on anything what I said here, and I hope it contained some useful information for you. If it did, consider rating it below or subbing to my channel. It would help me out a lot. Thanks a lot for watching again. I hope I'll see you in one of my next videos, and bye bye.